This is another episode of Coffee with Coach. We're really privileged today. We have with us a legend from what locals say. We've got a legend here with us, Mario Wuysang, professional coach, trainer. Played professional basketball here in Indonesia. Played on the national team. How many years did you play?
I played professionally 15 years. 15 years. National team about 15 years.
All right. Wow. That's a long career.
Yeah.
Nice. Now living in the States, run an academy in Houston.
East Texas. Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't you? First of all, it's a privilege to have you
Thank
here.
You, Coach.
And Starbucks has given us their facility almost for free. All we had to do is buy coffee. So it's nice of Starbucks to do that for us. But maybe give us a little more background. Where you were born, where you grew up,
yeah.
And maybe some of the connecting guys that we know from UPH.
Okay.
So maybe give us a little bit.
So I was born in Surabaya.
Okay.
And we moved to the States when I was 3 years old, California.
Okay.
So I went to elementary in California.
Nice.
Then I moved to Indiana at 6th grade.
Okay.
And that's where basketball really began for me. But for those that don't know, in America, like Indiana is, basketball is religion. And I grew up in the Bob Knight era.
Okay.
So that kind of set the foundation for my basketball philosophy.
Did you have brothers and sisters that played, or a dad? Or?
I had two older brothers. They're twins. They played, but not for the team.
Okay.
But they were really good, actually.
All right.
So I was always competing against them.
Sure.
I was a little guy.
Yep.
But I grew up in Indiana. After I graduated high school in '97, which was a long time ago, I went to junior college in Arizona for a year. And then I went and played D2 basketball in Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. And then you were brought back to Indonesia.
Yeah.
To play.
So I got a call one day in 2003 from a team called Aspak. They no longer exist, but the owner of Aspak said, without ever seeing me play, because there was no YouTube at the time, there was no Instagram.
Yeah.
He got my profile from Koran Bola, which is one of the sports magazines here in Jakarta. And he said, he had his manager call me. And this is what he said. He said, I'll have your ticket in 2 weeks. Without even, a commitment yet from me. So I didn't know that Indonesia had a basketball league. I didn't even know the interest of basketball was big in Indonesia. So yeah, kind of similar to your story, Coach. Like 1 year, it was a 1 year deal for me. 1 year turned into 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. Well, you left your mark on Indonesian basketball in those 15 years. I was at, was it Bucket List? Is that where we went to?
In Bogor.
Yeah. I mean, you've got a signed.
I still have to go there. I've never been there.
I think you have a signed jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, a lot of people know you. If the students at UPH don't know you, I'm sure if there's any basketball in their history, their uncles, their dads, somebody's heard of you, because that's the impact that you've had on basketball. So you're in Houston, you're running an academy, you've got American players, Indonesian players come over. What's your big emphasis for your academy? What if you could boil it down to a couple things? What are you trying to do with these players?
I started the academy 2022, so it wasn't planned really, but it was about just being a mentor to these players, a mentor that I didn't have really. That's where it started, and then goals started, formulating from that. So like trying to get these kids into college, get them scholarship, making them understand what it takes to get there. To open up doors for them. That's basically what the foundation is.
So mainly working with junior high school kids, trying to get them to another level.
Yeah, right.
But you also have professional players from Indonesia come and train with you, correct?
Yeah. I had a player from Satria Muda, Afan Saputra. He spent 6 months with me, lived with me, 6-month program.
You must have liked him if he was there 6 months.
It was tough. It was a tough one, but you know, we really wanted to focus on not just the basketball side of it, but his diet, the discipline. You know, I think, you know, in America, the discipline is a lot different than it is here. And just trying to instill that into his routine is something I really try to hammer in.
What's one of the things you do when it comes to discipline? What's part of your system?
Well, you know, we're waking up at 4.
Nice.
You know, we're on the court at 5.
Nice.
I mean, that's something that a lot of those guys were not used to, especially coming from here. And, you know, it's not even about the training, but it's about just, you know, waking up that early is not easy. Right, exactly. It really starts your day off right.
Yeah.
And I want that to be like a continuous thing for them.
And it's also good for you.
Trust me, I'm still struggling to do that at times, but, you know.
Well, that's I guess that's one of those things we have in common. Players come here, we have 5 a.m. practice. I've been doing 5 a.m. practices since about 1988.
Yeah.
It's been very good for me. It's hard.
It's hard.
You know, sometimes the players complain because they have to get up. Well, so do I.
You're right,
You know,
exactly.
And I don't just do it for 3 or 4 years. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Right.
But I think that's a great starting point because they have to go to bed in order to get up.
Yeah, exactly.
If they're serious about their training, you know, unlike some guys who'd still go to bed at like 1 a.m.
I had him get up at 5. He actually came and trained with us at 5 a.m.
Christian Greenwald,
Yeah.
right? All right.
Yeah.
Well, he was used to it here. He did it.
Yeah.
But he went to bed too late all the time. So maybe you fix that. I don't know. So yeah, discipline. I think I think in life, without discipline, you're going to have a hard time being successful at anything you do.
Absolutely.
I remind these guys, you know, people, the Fortune 500 CEOs, entrepreneurs, people that make a difference in the world, they get out of bed and they start their day and they get things done when others don't.
Yeah.
That's the difference maker.
Absolutely.
So, excellent. So discipline, big part of your program.
I mean, I going to college in America. I mean, waking up at 5, practicing at 5 is normal when you get to college in the States. I mean, I did that all throughout my college years, so that kind of stuck with me too. It's a habit,
Yeah.
and I just want to pass that down to these younger players and prepare them for life. Really,
Yep, absolutely. It makes a difference.
absolutely.
It's actually one of the things the guys remember most about their time with me.
Yeah.
They might forget a lot of things, but they don't forget that. So, well, what are a few other things as you look at the things the players need that come to see you? What are some of their biggest needs on the court?
The Indonesian players.
Yeah.
Like for me, the Indonesian players, it's fundamental.
Yeah.
We got to start with the fundamentals. Even the American players at a young age, I want to put in fundamentals, but I think I need to stress that with the Indonesian players.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ball handling, passing, consistent shooting. You know, I did a coaching clinic here this past week, you know, 13 to 18-year-olds, and I would ask them, how many shots you get up a day? You know, and they're like, no, 20, maybe. They don't keep track. I tell all my players in the States, well, keep track. Start at 100 a day,
Yeah.
and then work your way up to 200. Then that's how you build consistency, you know? So it's just those little details.
Yeah. That's great. I think, you know, fundamentals, actually, this morning's practice, bringing them back to ball handling,
Yeah.
passing, lack of passing skills. In my time here in Indonesia, there's not very many guys who can pass the ball well.
Yeah.
There's some guys who have some decent handles. There's guys that can, you know, knock down a shot, but their passing skills
Yes.
seem to be they're just not good enough.
Yeah.
And it's something they don't really want to work at, and it's something they don't do on their own.
Yes.
But if there's one thing for me, they have to learn how to pass better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know you were a point guard. Obviously, you spent a lot of time setting people up for that shot, you know. So passing. But when we look at, I don't know, if I think about what they need off the court, because I think that's one thing that you want to emphasize is who they're becoming.
Yeah.
So how do you grab a young guy? What are some things you do to help him off the court and to grow up and to become the person he should be?
Yeah.
What are some things you emphasize?
Like everything I do, I hold them accountable. So in my life, I take it from my own life. Everything I apply to life, I learned through the game of basketball. Whether it's discipline, hard work, teamwork, communication, I got that all from basketball. So those are the things I try to pass down to them, and I don't baby them. I don't care if they make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make those mistakes, but I'm gonna hold you accountable for those things.
Good. Yeah. I mean, there's so many different parts.
Yeah.
But that communication idea, it's one of the biggest issues. Again, is learning how to communicate.
Yeah.
And guys who play silent ball, well, they're never going to get to a level at which you got to because you can't.
Right.
Communication is it's basketball. Basketball is a communication game.
Absolutely.
But I one of the things I talk to them about is what university is for. One thing you have to accomplish or become good at is communication, because the rest of your life will depend on your communication skill. You went from playing as a ball handler, the point guard, communicator. Now you're training, and it all comes back to communication.
Yeah.
I mean, could you have even imagined you at this age, 46?
46.
46, and communication is the whole thing. You don't communicate, you don't have a job.
Exactly.
You're not making any difference at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up, the most social kid, and I get it. It just, I was shy. It wasn't my thing. But especially kids today, I see. Maybe it's a technology. Maybe it's just the environment's different. There is no, eye contact is communication, and we're lacking that in today's youth.
Absolutely.
I grew up in an era where when a coach speaks, you have to give him eyes. It's a sign of disrespect if you don't. So I try to pass that down to my players as well. And being a point guard, I got asked this question the other day by a kid: how do you become a good point guard? I said, well, it's leadership. How do you become a good leader? You got to communicate. Your teammates are looking at you to lead them. If you're quiet, if your body language is quiet, well, that's how the team's going to flow. So you have to learn how to communicate. And some kids think it's like yelling, and it's not yelling. It's how do I motivate my guys, my teammates? How do I communicate with them, whether it's body language, eye contact? How do I get them to play their best?
Right. That's the key. A good point guard makes everybody else better. They figure out what the person needs, and they make sure they get them there. You've trained with Christian Gunwan a little bit. He spent a month with you this last year.
A couple weeks. He was a couple weeks.
When he was here, that was one of the biggest issues, is learn how to be a leader, learn how to communicate, learn how to elevate everyone else's game. When you look at great point guards, Steve Nash, John Stockton, and we keep going. They weren't considered the best player on the court generally. I mean, Steve Nash, two MVPs, is pretty good, but they made everyone else better. They just had the capacity to elevate the game. And we have a player right now. His name is Kenny. He's a talented kid. He's got all sorts of upside, but trying to get him to communicate, it's the hardest thing. He doesn't have the verbal skills. He doesn't have the presence. When he walks on the court, there should be presence. Everybody should know, okay, now we know what to do. I'm always talking to my point guards. They have to become the voice of the coach. If they become the voice of the coach, if they understand what the coach wants, and they can step out there and do it, they become a good point guard. So there's one other thing that I maybe you emphasize is being a point guard who doesn't control the ball, but still controls the game. I don't know, you may have never heard of Dan Dickow, but he's a...
Of course I have. Of course I have.
Well, he was one of my boys. I coached him.
Great point guard.
Yeah, and when he was with me, I was always trying to get him to be a point guard without the ball. And it actually paid off because at Gonzaga, they started double teaming him, doing everything they could to stop him, but he could control the game without the ball and let the offense develop because he was that good. And so that's really what, those are important skills. And the best can do it.
Yeah.
And those who don't reach them, they can't.
Right.
They don't do it. So.
I remember my college coach, my freshman year, a month in during a scrimmage, my teammate turns the ball over. He calls a timeout. And he goes right to me and says, any turnover we have, it's your fault. And I didn't understand that at 18. That's hard to grasp, right? You're like, wait a second, I didn't do anything, coach. So I got emotional. But looking back, I understand why. Because I'm an extension of him. It wasn't that it was my fault, but it was my fault that I didn't set the tempo and have everyone organized. So that's the philosophy, that's the foundation that I try to set with my guys.
Nice. I think it's those are the valuable things.
Yeah.
So we look at it, and for us at UPA, and I don't know if you have like a few values or principles that you always take with you, but we have athletic perfection. We strive for excellence on the court, in the class, in relationship. Just strive for excellence every day. Make today a great day.
Yeah.
Every day. Everything you do, be fully involved, be fully focused in it. Do your best in every situation. In this conversation, I should attempt to be the best me I can be and draw out the best on the court, everywhere. The second thing is process. I talk a lot about process. I didn't grow up with good process. My dad had a fixed mindset, but I have developed a mindset that says that we can make progress.
Yeah.
It's an open mindset. It's a mindset that looks for the opportunity, believes it can happen. And so taking my guys through the process, really important. And the last one is eternal perspective. I believe there's more to life than basketball. Guys that walk around with basketball's life. No, I don't think so. Life is now, but it's an extension of what is for the future.
Absolutely.
This eternal perspective and eternal direction which we go. So those are things we emphasize here. They might be the thing that makes us different at UPA. I'm pretty sure they are. I don't think most coaches, even this morning, I'm talking to them about bigger issues. It's not just basketball. We have to open up our minds. But if you looked at your program, what are some of the other? You mentioned hard work, discipline, these things. But is there something deeper about you that you want to share with the guys who come to you, or you want to share to our students here at UPA? Is there something more?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm still on my journey. I grew up in the church, and my life has been a roller coaster, and I'm still on that journey to get closer to Him. So I want to be an example to these guys. Yeah, and I'm transparent with most of my journey too. So they can see that life is not just perfect all the time.
Right.
You're gonna encounter challenges. Even like the challenges you encounter on the court. It's just preparing you for what's coming in life. If you break, then you're gonna go on the wrong path, which I've been on. So just trying to set good examples for them and reminders that stay the course, be positive, be willing to learn, and lead the way.
Yeah, that's true. Well, one of the things I was sharing with some players this morning is, according to sport psychologists, there's 10 stages to the finish line excellence. And the first 7, everyone does. They go to practice, they work on their shot, they do all the things at which they're supposed to do. And everybody can get there. But the elite athletes have the number 8, 9, and 10. It's way beyond just going through the motions of the game. And it has to do with what you think, what you believe, and the attitude at which you play with. When I'm hearing you talk, and we talked a little bit before we got started, that's your mindset. you are actually working more on the thinking process,
Absolutely.
more on what people believe about themselves and who they can become, and the attitude at which they train with. And I think that's what gets them over the top and gets them to the highest level. The other things everybody does.
Yeah.
Everybody does dribbling drills. Everybody does passing drills. Everybody talks about good nutrition. But what about that last 3 steps? And maybe if you can give some maybe some tips or advice, how do you personally work on these 3 things? Your thinking process on the court, off the court. I mean, if you can look backwards to when you were young playing, now you're a trainer. What do you think about? Secondly, what do you really believe about you? And what do you really believe they need to believe about themselves to reach the next level? And then the attitude at which you approach life, you approach the game, you approach training. Maybe hit on a few of those things and give us some advice.
Yeah, I mean, my journey has been amazing and crazy at the same time. So I wake up every day, I'm grateful. That's first and foremost. So
living a life of gratitude.
just living a life of gratitude sets the
Perfect
tone for my everyday routine.
Yeah.
Because whether things go wrong, if during the day things don't go your way, you just revert back to just being grateful, and then it changes your energy and mindset.
Okay.
Everything is positive right after that. So that's the energy I come in with in the gym.
Okay.
So when some of my guys are maybe down or going through a tired, aches, something's going on in life, they feel that, and then that just gets cut off quickly. Within 5 minutes we're starting, and just being a mentor to them. These are 18, 20-year-olds and haven't really experienced anything yet. So I'm just here to be a mentor to them and share my story, my life story through basketball.
But what's the thought process? So the attitude is gratitude, perfect. The belief system, life is a journey. You're going through it. Stay positive, perfect. But the thought process, what are some things you want them to think as a basketball player? What should they dial in on? What's the thinking they should do? And I'll tell you why I'm asking the question, because I was sharing with some of my guys that 90% of 25-year-olds will fail when they hit. By the time they're 65, they fail. They never reach what they thought they could be. 90% are just failures along the way. And this was some study and research over the past few generations. But that 10% that actually get to the goal, get to the dream, become who they thought they could be, they have a different thought process. And so if we're going to take players, if you're going to take your players and say you have 100 players, you got to realize, well, a lot of them are going to fall out. They're just going to go do other things, learn how to play the violin, whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
But what is the thought process? What did you think to get you to the level you're at? Or how can we help them learn to think better? Or what thoughts should they have?
For me, it came easy for me in the sense of I loved this game.
Okay. Well, then that was the beginning.
That was the beginning. I really loved it. I didn't love what came with it. It was just pure love. So a lot of these kids that I see today are in it for other reasons. Maybe it's the parents that love it for them. Maybe it's...
So they're actually thinking about something else.
Yeah, I see that a lot in a lot of these kids. So I'll know whether the kid loves it or not. That foundation of loving the game will take you places that the others are not going to go.
Okay.
It's gonna get you past the hard days. It's gonna get you past doubt, fear of failing, fear of making mistakes. It's gonna get you past all that, just because you're so passionate about it. So, I guess that's not fair because the passion was in me. I don't know what put that
So
in.
you didn't have to think about loving it, you just did.
I did, yeah.
So when they hit the court, How can you tell, if you can, who's going to make it and who's not? Is there any telltale signs besides love?
Besides
love of the
love.
game. Is there anything else you're looking for?
Hard work.
Like if we're going to recruit a player,
Yeah.
You give me some advice. What should I be looking for?
I want to see the kid that's working hard. He's willing to run through that wall.
Okay.
That's one. Two, he's got to be coachable. You could be the most talented kid out there. He's not going hard. He's not taking instructions. He's not even looking at you when you're criticizing, giving him advice. So, like, hard work is definitely something, and a coachable kid. You know, I would work with that than the talented kid that's not working hard.
I like that. I like that coachable kid.
Yeah. He's got to be coachable.
There's always something to learn.
Yeah, there's always something to learn.
Well, good. Well, I think the guys were right. I think we do have some things in common, and let's figure out a way in which maybe we can develop some players and send them to you someday.
Absolutely.
And maybe there's an opportunity for you to come and maybe do something in Upeha one of these days.
It would be an honor, Coach.
Good. All right. Well, this has been a great conversation. I look forward to any type of collaboration. Maybe we'll do something in the future, or maybe some of the guys you've worked with
Yeah.
come and help us out. I know we got Christian Gunawan, so he's the first one on the list. Anyways, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Much
you.
appreciated.
Thank you so much.
God bless.
God bless. God bless.